Do I really know my true self? I'm looking at this. Oh, hey, have you ever thought about, are you really your authentic self when you walk into a room? Are you really being yourself? Or are you just kind of faking it till you make it type of thing? I was just looking in the mirror and I was asking myself that question. And I was thinking to myself, that would sound like a good topic to talk about. In fact, I think we need to talk about being your true self. Well, let's talk fam. I think that's a good item to talk about because sometimes I don't feel that way. I think I need some tips. Let's think about that. Let's talk fam. Hello, and welcome to the Let's Talk Fab show with the Fab Five. And I'm one of the Fab Five. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and I'm still here. So glad to be here. I used to do this like every other weekend, and now I was like, I haven't done this for so long. It's like, I miss this. I miss being here. So everybody, welcome. Today, we are going to talk about, yes, I was just looking in the mirror. I said, are we really being our true self? Do we understand who we are? Do we really come out being the person that we're supposed to be and not somebody else? Those are some questions that we should all ask ourselves every time we're just going outside the door. So I wanted to say, I said, I like this topic, and I brought in some wonderful, I call the lady queens, some fabulous queens on this panel to discuss this because I know each and every one of them, and they are basically their true selves. And I know they can give us a lot of tips. So with that said, we want to introduce each one, and then we're going to go right into this topic. So let's start with the queen. Oh, yes. Miss Queen. I don't want to say name because I want you to introduce.
Oh my God, you're so cute. I love you so much, Barbara. Hello, everyone. I'm Jenny C. Cohen, and I am your confidence spotlight formula friend. All right. I'm your big sis when it comes to being present and in the moment so you can let the true you shine through. Now, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I even wrote a book to help women who are suffering from traumatic events come back into their bodies, because that's one of the hardest things to do. We kind of buckle down and do what you got to do to get through, and then we forget to come back. And that's really my calling and my passion these days.
Yes. Queen Jenny, love you. Next queen.
Hello. My name is Cortina Jackson. Very happy to be here with these wonderful women talking on a very important topic. I am a TV and film producer. I'm also an actor. I'm an international speaker and an advocate for women of domestic violence and sexual abuse. And just a wonderful topic, so important. Looking forward to diving into this. So let's get ready to do it.
Yes. I love it. Next queen.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. I'm Erica Hansen. I am your curiosity coach. I am a coach. I developed a curiosity framework called SOS, Suspend, Open, and Seek. And it really, what it is all about is understanding and what's you, what's not you, and how to release those limits and really live without limits.
Yes, no limits. Thank you, queen. And finally, our queen.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, number one. I'm Barbara Ellison, founder of Wellness Playroom for the best version of you. And I am a life transition mentor and mind-body architect, getting people in touch with who they are outside of their job title, their job description.
Happy. I thought she was going to do.
Sorry. No, that's.
Yeah.
We're so used to me just starting the show and going on without you.
I was like, oh, okay, it's me again. So again, welcome each and every queen and everybody out there that's making comments in our, virtual, I always say sitting room, audience, a family. I'm going to call it a family, because I've been saying that a lot lately. Because just a quick little disclaimer, I want to make sure this year is to just put out the love, 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 and make everybody feel like they're family. I believe, I'm not going to think of it, it's needed right now. So with everything I do now on a show like this, any kind of show, just talking to people on a daily basis, just showing that love. So I want you all saying that to show the love to our panelists, show the love to our producer, director, everything. Gloria, she's doing that today for us. And she's also a show host on Let's Talk Fab. We just love her dearly. And the Queen Bee, who basically created this platform, Mrs. Tamara L. Hunter. I know she's out there, but she's always doing the comments every Sunday. So, we always got to give the love to everybody that makes this production work. So, yay. But the panelists, if they weren't here, we wouldn't have one. So we're going to go and dive into this. But before I dive into this, I always have like some little cute videos and something to share with. So today is Innovation Day. Yeah, I always look that stuff up. I know I'm kind of a little geek on that end. So today's Innovation Day, and I just got a little video of some things that might bring back memories of some people. Some people, you might need a certain age to remember this. Look, leave us alone. But here we go. Yeah, I like that music. Yeah, I like to dance too. So did anybody remember any of those different type of... Oh, Jenny, thank you. Okay, yes. Okay.
The good old days.
The good old days.
And it's sad when you remember all of them.
Oh, it's a privilege, y'all. Come on.
This is true. This is true.
I looked at the floppy disk and there were the hard disk. I was like, wait, they used to be actual floppy disks.
Yes.
Around.
You're missing that long cord with the phone that's attached to the wall, Barbara.
I know. I can only have so long of a video. So I had a list. Believe me, I had a list.
Yeah.
I just did a post the other day about remembering as a kid when my mom was a Yankees fan, and we used to have to walk into the house and just tiptoe around because heaven forbid it upset the signal of the bunny ears.
The bunny ears.
The bunny ears.
I forgot they were called the bunny ears. Okay, now
Wow.
see, okay, people know that. Go to Google University and look it up. That's
Right, right.
So with that, we're gonna, and you know what? That's going right into being your true self. Right now, we were being our true self. We weren't like, oh, I better not say that because they're gonna know my age, or if they think that I know about a pager, oh my God, they might not think I know technology now. This gives us even more to understand that we appreciate from the pager age or from the floppy disk to what's going on now, which we just have TV streaming, which we can see and be with any kind of global aspect of it, which to me is just amazing. So with that, I want to start off because each of our queens, each of our panelists did their own little video, either a tip or just something to think about when it comes to understanding your true self. And I want people in the chat again, in the comments, please put, what do you think? Give some tips that you have, some things that you're thinking of, because this is very important. You don't want to be somebody else. I know somebody told me a long time ago, they said, the best version you can be is you. You can't be anybody, because, some people want to be Oprah or Tony Robbins, or, the list goes on. Everybody has their own favorite people. It's nice to, think about them and say, okay, you know what? I like certain things they do. I resonate with some things that they do. I can learn from some things that they do. But you still got to be Jenny. You still got to be Barbara Ellis. You still got to be Cortina. You still have to be Erica and everybody else out there, because you bring a uniqueness that no one else can bring, because it's you. So this little small tip, I'm going to be doing that along the way. So I want to I'm going to play our first wonderful queen. Let's see. I like the picky thing. I like to pick certain things. I'm going to pick Barbara Ellis, because we have two Barbaras here. She's going to talk a little about, who do you are the way you are. And she's going to give us a little tip on that, and we'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Barbara, Wellness Playroom, for the best version of you. This is such a fabulous subject, and I am so excited to be on this show today. Anyways, my tip for today is to do you and let go of the person that you think you should be. We've been conditioned from the time we were kids, practically, that we should do this, we should do that, from our teachers, from our parents, from everybody that we come in contact. Oh, well, you should do it this way. Well, you know what? Not necessarily. And so right now, I encourage you to do you the way you know how to do you. Be your authentic self. Let go of the comparisons. Let go of who you think you should be. Take that word out of your vocabulary and just do you. You're authentic, absolutely fabulous you. No one can do it like you.
Just do you in her red. So, lady, I'm going to bring you in the spotlight, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that.
I think one of the biggest things for me is people right now are burnt out, they're unhappy, and they can go from burned out and unhappy to living their best life, to being the best version of you, the best version of themselves, because, and it's like we have to give them permission. Some people need to be given permission to honor their values, their passions, especially when it goes against the grain of their family or their upbringing or other social things around them. And when we can really embrace that and give ourselves permission to be us, everything changes. Everything changes.
Yeah. Anybody would like to comment on that? Yes. Oh, go ahead, Jenny.
I love this permission granted. Thank you so much. Oftentimes women I'm 56 years young, y'all. So my generation was women had to be given permission to speak, and permission to do this, and permission to do that. And I love that you grant us permission to give ourselves permission. Whoa, I just blew up my own brain. I love that, right? And see, for me, I've always been, my culture is to automatically give people that I see as an elder respect, right? And I think what happens that we forget to give ourselves respect. Now I'm an elder in training, and I greet everyone with respect. And now, to earn my trust is a different story now, right, folks? And when we walk into a room knowing that you are comfortable in your own skin, Barbara, I just love that permission. Thank you so much.
Yes. I like that. 56 young. I like that.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna start putting people in the middle. Okay, Queen.
Just excellent. Same. With having that permission, we often have to seek permission from many areas. Even at work. Can I have the day off? This permission. And so sometimes we forget, we get lost in our own selves, that we are who we are and we can do what we want. This is who we are. And, sometimes we feel that our voices are silenced. And so giving your permission to show up as you, it's so critical. And it's so important to know that, because we get lost in the weeds. We get lost in society that tells us, just wait your turn, just wait. When you have something to say, sometimes it's very important to show up and show out, because people need it, which is why we're here today. So it's very important, to know that we have that permission to move forward, and that everyone else does too, so that they can be the true you.
Yes, be the true you. Wonderful, Queen. Anybody else have any thoughts on it? I don't want to go into a little bit about the label past experiences because Miss Erica has something to say on that. So we want to hold that for a minute. But anything else about just being you, just do. You know how Nike says just do it? So just do it. Okay. So we're gonna move on. Now that I talked about Erica, let's play Erica's video and dive into her. I like that. Look at that.
Love it.
We'll be right back.
I believe we know who we are, but it gets buried under labels and learned experiences. A fun exercise I recommend is called Dream Inventory. Take out a sheet of paper and without editing yourself, write down all the dreams that you have. Keep writing them down until you get to the ones you're scared to acknowledge that they even exist. Once you write them all down, go through and cross out the ones that no longer apply, and then put why. For example, I used to want a red Jeep Wrangler. I don't really dream that anymore because it just doesn't fit what I want now, so I crossed that off. But don't cross off the ones that you think aren't possible. If you wanted to live in New York City in your 20s and you're in your 30s, don't cross it out if you still dream of living in New York City. Just cross out the in your 20s part. When you have the dreams that matter, go down and see if you've already accomplished them. You might be surprised. When I do this, I'm usually surprised when I can cross something off. And what you're left with is who you're meant to be. Now it's time to make the plans to get there.
I love it, love it. I love how she said, dream and whatever it is, wherever age group you're at, whatever, it's okay to still dream about that. Something that I'm even doing right now in my life, which I always tell myself, shoot, I wish I would have started my 20s and 30s, but then I had to stop that because that's gone. I got to move on. I learned and moved on and grew and everything. But what I want to do right now, I can still do it. Something that I thought of in my 30s. So with that, thank you for letting me dream. And I want to put you in the middle, lady, because I want you to talk a little bit more about that.
Thanks. I actually want to follow up, Barbara, with you. So funny story. I in my late 20s, early 30s, I had this idea that I wanted to be an intellectual property lawyer. So I called a mentor of mine and I was like, but I can't do it because I'd have to do this school and this school. And by the time I come out, I'll be like close to 40. And she's like, well, you're going to be 40 anyway. So you can be 40 and not be happy with what you're doing, or you can be 40 and be a lawyer. Well, then I did some more research and decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. But with that in mind is the dream inventory. I do this probably quarterly. Sometimes I miss a quarter, but it's amazing to me when I can cross something off that I didn't even realize. And I will say what you're aiming for when you first do it are those deep secrets that you didn't even give yourself permission to speak out loud because you didn't think that you have a right for whatever reason. And just take that, and then that's what you want to work on. And for me, it is like my secret dream was always to write a book. And I'm working on my book now. But the funny thing is, I don't know what I had in mind when I thought that I wanted to write. And when I quit corporate America and started my coaching business, I started just submitting articles and started getting published in the local magazine. And then I was doing my dream inventory recently, and it was like, write a book. And I was like, oh, I haven't done that yet. And I was like, oh no, I have. That's my children's book. But I was like, but that doesn't count. And so I was like, whoa, coach myself. So really dig down deep, because those are those nuggets that you can still do no matter where you are in your life.
Yes. I loved, and I want to, if somebody else chime in, but I love that you said that, because a lot of times we look so much at oh, I just did this, or I didn't really do this, but then it is something powerful that you did and you forget or you don't realize that, yes, you have more in you than you even realize that you have. I mean, when people say, oh, write a book, some people say, oh, you got to write a book that's 300 pages long. It got to be thick and all that. And sometimes it's an ebook. Sometimes it's a 3 or 4 pager that you put yourself out and gave some advice so people can really learn and grow from that. So you need to give yourself some credit, because now you're being a lighthouse of the world just on those 4 pages that you wrote or that article that you wrote. So I always tell people, stop minimizing stuff that you do and enjoy it, celebrate it, and know that you're helping somebody, right?
Wow.
Anybody?
I love that. I love what you said in your 1 minute, Barbara, excuse me, for Erica, the 1 minute video about writing it down. That is so critical. I had what I call my journal. I had a journal that I was writing, gratefulness journals, what I called it. And I would write down everything that I was grateful for that day. And I began to write down initially things that I wanted to happen in my life. And everything I wrote down during those years happened for me. Whether I knew how to do it or not, I wrote it down, and with no knowledge. One day, I wrote down. One day, I would love to act. I would love to be on TV someday. And one day, I'd love to have a talk show, I'd like to be on Oprah or be on somebody's talk show. I would love to speak to people and really encourage them. And I went on to become an actress. Within a month or 2, it happened. I became an actress. Never had taken acting classes. And then that continued. I had an acting gig from that time for a solid 2 years. I was acting every month. And then I wanted to be on someone's talk show and ended up having my own talk show. So I am just I'm a big advocate for that, on writing it down. The Bible says, write it down and make it plain. And you just begin to see how things will just flourish. You know, when you put it out in the atmosphere, put it out there, it comes back. It comes to fruition for you.
Yes. What I like about you, Queen, is that everything that you said that you wanted to do, you have done it, and even in perfection wise. So I have to just give you so much love with that. Yeah. People are saying in the chat, the words are powerful. They are. Words, when you put words out, be it negative. Okay, we all know about that part, right? Mm-hmm. But really do the positive. That's why I always tell people, every time I hear somebody say, I don't know if I can do that, I say, flip it. And they be like, what you talking about, bro? I say, flip it. And they look at me like I'm crazy. I said, we're going to flip it to positive. I don't know if I can do something right now, but I can learn, or I can ask the question. Right. That's what you want to do. You want to flip that thing. Never say what you cannot do, because you don't know what you can't do until you try it. Right. That's what I tell people. So flip it. Anybody else want to chime in?
One of the things I loved this, Erica and Cortina, because as a kid, and I've told Barb this, I can always remember saying, "Ooh, I would," and this was like when we first got a first TV. I thought, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun to be on TV?" And now here I am, and yet, as I was starting to promote being on this show, it was like the voice in my head said, who do you think you are to think that you can be on a show? Well, guess what? I said, you know what? I'll tell my sister. And that's as far as I was going to go. And then it was like, no, Barbara, you are a show host. I am a show host. I am on a TV show. I'm not just on a little podcast. This is a legitimate TV show. And you know what? It feels great. And I'm so grateful and so if I can't be the only one that's feeling that thought, yes. So yeah, get past it. Just, hey, you know what? Because you know what? It's a lie that you can't do it.
Yeah. Yes. Claim it. Claim it. Jenny, I have to get Jenny in, because her hands are just wild there.
Y'all get double eyeball hearts, I'm telling you. So I'm so bowled over by the synchronicity of this panel. So listen, coming from a culture that you didn't even have permission to dream, right? Mm-hmm. I love the suggestion to write in a journal, because it is your conversation with your version of God, source, universe. You're literally asking for what is your birthright. And I love this conversation because we're all saying the same things in different ways, so that audience, you hear that you're allowed to dream, you're allowed to ask, you're allowed to receive. Those are the biggest things I'm getting from this. I'm just so excited to be here. More eyeball hearts.
Love it. I love it. She
love
always brings the energy. I love it, Jenny. Queen. We really quick before we get to our next queen and her video. I want to get to Cortina's video, but I know there was something that Erica mentioned that I want at least one or two of you to really talk about, and is that she mentioned about being buried under labels and learning past experiences. I think we all can probably talk about that. There could be a whole nother show, to be honest with you. It really could. But just I want to hit on that because a lot of people still might be dealing with that. I know sometimes I have to flip it with that, and think about, because I used to be, just really good example, from the ages from 7 to 10, and then even in high school a little bit, I was bullied badly. I mean, they would call me alien. I was the ugliest person in the world. They thought I was stupid, all that kind of stuff. And that kind of stuff, gets here. And sometimes it gets here. And then when you get older, it's still kind of, and then you're like, okay, who is my true self? Well, my true self is an idiot because they call me idiot. No, you're not. And you got to keep flipping that. So I want you to kind of talk a little bit about, how people could label you, or those learning things that maybe you learn from your parents. Sometimes that happens. Who wants to just take that real quick? Oh.
Yeah, I have a whole separate label exercise, but what I wanted to mention, I did workplace coachings. I mean, I still do, but I did it really fully for about 4 years. And the biggest thing is that, and I think it's leanin.org, but they have done some phenomenal research on the workplace and women in the workplace. And they differentiate between all women, and then they do ethnicities and identities. But it's really amazing if you go there and when I shared it with clients, their first response was, "Oh my God, I'm not alone." Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just giving yourself the proof that what you're experiencing is unfortunately not unique. It is the environment that at least this country's workplace has put women of all identities in, and other identities. But I just said women because we happen to be but all identities. And so even just seeing that, I notice, has a huge impact on people. And I won't go into my label exercise, but if you think about labels, back when you had to print out labels if you were mailing something, and then you'd stick them on envelopes. Mm-hmm. I view that as all that. So workplace, society, they put all these labels on you, but because they put them on you, it also means that you have the power to rip them off. And the more that the label is stuck on, if you've ever tried to get the label off of one of those things that's on forever, it leaves that gummy surface. So the ones that have been there for a long time, it's harder to get that off. And for me, I had to have years and years and years and still go to therapy to help get that gummy stuff off. But we have the power to take those off. And I think that helps a lot. But I think it's leanin.org that does some amazing things to say, how go look it up. I'm rambling.
That's okay. We'll put it somewhere in the show notes somewhere.
Thank you for changing and all of that. It's we're all in it.
Thank you for really deep diving in that, because that helped a lot, Queen. I love that.
So one of the things that I always work with my clients is to do a mental fitness 6-week thing, because what happens is we internalize voices of the people that put those labels on us, and it's actually ingrained. They're grooved into the network of our circuits in our brain, and the goal is to rewire those circuits, because oftentimes if you are not aware that you're even doing negative talk, How can we change it? So in the mental fitness boot camp that my clients go through, we just make you aware that there's actually a saboteur in you, and they have many, many faces. And then you have a sage part, kind of your present part that knows, especially when you're really connected with your source, your God, your universe, that is always shining your good and your who you really are. And oftentimes the voices that say, mine was always my mom's voice until I really started to heal. All right. It was always my child parts imitating my mom's voice, saying that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't working hard enough. I had to serve for safety, all this kind of things. As I started to rewire, those voices got softer so that I could hear the sage, the present me be more present. The only thing is, if you're not aware that you're just repeating labels that were given to you, right? Oh, I had to work just a little harder. That could be a saboteur saying you didn't work hard enough. And just to call attention to that is going to be key.
One of the things for me, I always try to share with my clients is celebrate those things that you are. Exactly. What all we've been talking about, celebrate those things that we are, because we normally just beat ourselves up for all the things we're not. And those are those voices in our head are saying, oh, you're too this, you're too that, you're too this, you're too that, you're not enough of this, or you've got too much of that. And so important. And to know that you're not alone.
Yes, definitely. See, we're not alone. We're not alone. And you know what? I don't know who up there, wherever, is saying you didn't do that right. Because it's not really anybody saying it. It's just like there's somewhere saying you didn't do that. You don't work hard enough. And then all of a sudden you got to think about it. It's in you. It's in your head. Because even if people tell you that, you got to give permission for that to come into your life and believe it. Right? So you got to make a choice. It's a choice that has to be made. So we have to make that flip it choice. I'm going to keep saying flip it because I want you to be positive. So with that, just a little side note here, we're going to go to talking a little bit with everything that we do here on Let's Talk Fab is we're talking about legacy, and not just legacies like, some people say, I want to leave a legacy for my family and friend, all that, but leaving legacies of seeds right now where you're alive. And I believe that this show and all the Let's Talk Fab shows leaves those type of legacy to remind us what we should be doing every day. This is one where we're talking about be your true self. So I want to play a wonderful video that one of our production, and he's fabulous, has created when it talks about leaving legacy. And we'll be right back.
In the quiet moments, when the sun begins to rise, we find the strength within us. In the stories of our lives, not in gold or glory, but in hearts we've touched with grace, in the love we share with others, in each kind and gentle face. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. Through the trials and the triumphs, in the battles that we fight, it's the courage and the kindness that will always shine so bright. In the lessons that we teach and the dreams that we inspire, in the way we lift each other higher and higher. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you've sparked in others, in the stories that are told. In the final song you sung, and the curtains drawing near, it's the moments filled with love that will echo year to year. in the footprints on the path that guide the lost and blind. Your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held, the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you've sparked in others, in the stories that are told. So let's live with open hearts and give with all our might. For the legacy we leave is a beacon in the night, in the echoes of our actions, in the whispers of the wind. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. Our legacy of love is where it all begins.
Your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind.
Wow, every time I listen to that song, I get tears. I had to wipe off. I said, my eyeshadow is in my eyes and all that going on. So wow. So just with that alone, first of all, there's so many different mic drops in that song. And one of the things, I was thinking about the whole time, I was thinking about everybody on this panel, everybody that's listening to us, that again, we are leaving seeds of legacy every day. Remember that. When you want to go there sometime, because we're going to go there, we're human, we're going to be depressed sometime, we're going to be upset sometime. It happens. This is part of life. We're human. But always remember that you want to still, at the end of the day, don't kind of stay there, because you're leaving those seeds of love. You're leaving those seeds of hope. You're leaving those seeds of understanding who you are. You're leaving the true self and being authentic to yourself. So that's the things we want to leave behind when we're all, moving forward here. So 56 and young. I love that. Miss Queen Jenny. With that said, we are going to go to our next wonderful Queen's videotape. And she talks about the version of you. I love that. What's the true version of you? Here we go.
Hello, my name is Cortina Jackson, and I am showing up as the version of me. And it is time that we showed up as the version of who we really are. A lot of times in my life, I wore what I call the clown mask, and I talk about it all the time. I presented the way I thought people wanted to see me, or how they perceived me was very important to me. But when you learn how to show up as yourself and just realize that you are enough, it's comfortable. You're not wearing weight. You're not wearing coverings. You are just the best version of you. So I'm very excited about this topic. We're going to delve into this a lot more to find out the value of you.
I love it. Love it. We're going to hear more from this queen. It's a lot of golden nuggets in that. The value, the version of you. So let's hit you in the middle, queen.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Oh gosh, so important. So much to unpack here. And I'm going to do it in a condensed amount of time. But, when I was growing up, even as a young age, at 7 years old, I was already sexually abused. And at that time, even at the young age, I learned how to be an actor, because I felt like there was already a shame I was taught, be ashamed of what happened. You were to blame. You should be ashamed of yourself. And so I always wore this downcast. I didn't want to show my eyes. I didn't want to show up. I was always afraid someone knew or someone was looking at me. And then I learned to wear what I call the clown mask, because the clown mask always smiles. You never know what's going on underneath, because that's what I presented to people, was that smile. And I had to be that for everyone, and felt like I had to be the one to make everybody else feel comfortable. Yeah. And in doing so, I grew up to be a people pleaser. And so in I didn't show up as the version of me. I showed up as what I thought someone wanted me to be. I put on the makeup, I put on the nice clothes, and I wore that for years. I had two sons, and I would try to be funny. I was in domestic violence. I ended up being in many years of domestic violence. And I had two sons, and I'm the funny person. So I always tried to be funny for them and make them laugh. And so I would be abused, and come out, wipe my eyes, and put on my clown mask. Like everything was okay. It's all good. Like the clown, the clown gets kicked. The clown keeps on smiling. They spray water in the face of the clown, but the clown keeps on entertaining. And so I always felt that need to entertain. And that carried on through life. And at night, and only while I was by myself, I would take off the mask and think, I'm ugly. I'm fat. I'm everything that people told me I was. I'm stupid. I'll never do it. I'll never make it. And I always, before I would go and present, or I became a police officer, I married a police officer. So I had to wear, we as women, we wear many hats. Some of we become moms. We are in the workforce. We are, just in public, and we learn how to act because it is based on our environment. We learn how to present ourselves. Then later on, when I became an actress, it furthered. I had to act like someone else. And so one day someone asked me, Cortina, tell us about you. And I struggled because I didn't know who I was.
Right.
I lost my identity. And so when that happened, I was really struggling, like, well, who am I? So I told them all the things I was doing. I'm an actress. I wrote books. I'm an author. And they were like, no, but who are you? I had no idea because I was always told of who I was and told how I should behave, told how I was to act, but I didn't know. And only here recently have I realized who I was. And boy, it was like a weight had lifted because I had to sit down and write down, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to do in life? What do I want to do when I grow up? And it felt good because then I could pursue everything I wanted to be. And I could show up, like it or hate it. This is who I am. And I was so surprised when people embraced who I am. I was like, wow. It was freeing that we don't have to hide and we don't have to cover. If people like us, they're gonna like or hate whoever at any time. When you show up as you, you don't have to pretend. You don't have to remember lines. You don't have to remember who am I today.
Right.
I forgot who I am today. It's just you. And so it's the power and the value of you. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Okay. After that, it's like mic drop. I'm done. I took my notes. Let me be my version of me. And that's what, through all of that. And you know what I loved about that, Queen, real quickly, because we got to get on to Jenny's video too, is that it don't matter where you start, just start. See, that's the part that I loved, because some people, we start late. I mean, I did like you, Queen. I started late in my life to really understand the version of me because I was a people pleaser. I was like, everybody loves Barbara. She makes everybody laugh, just like the clown, like you said. And inside, when I go home, I'm like, okay, I take it off and I'm sitting there like this at home because I'm like, okay, and all my energy's taken up because of somebody else's thing. So I love how you said you can start anywhere. So if you figure that you're not being the real version of you, this is so important. Start right now. Right now. Hopefully this show will open the door to let you know that you can be you, authentically you, right? Authentically you. So before we get to
can I add one little thing to that?
Okay.
So much of it is conquering the fear of who we are becoming, of not being accepted and not being, like, ooh, what's so-and-so going to say? But we have to pay attention to what feels right for us. Yeah. And that's hard sometimes. Yes. So that's, what Cortina, what you just said is absolutely spot on. It's
Yes,
getting over that.
thank you.
Ooh, 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 ooh. So with that, just to give, because we're putting little, if you notice, we're putting little seeds out there to everybody with all these wonderful queen panelists and the videos and everything, trying to remind you to be your true self. So we have another one for you. We'll be right back. Believe, believe, believe. If you get anything out of today, believe in your true self. So with that said, we're going to get to our other queen in her video. She's going to give us some tips that she's learned throughout the way. And this is Queen Jenny.
Hi, I am Jenny C. Cohen, your Spotlight Confidence Formula Coach. Being true you means to be fully present in the moment. And one of the best ways to do it is to tune into your 5 senses and really feel your body and let your body feel you. Come to our talk and I'll share more about what that means. It's taken me a lifetime. I'm 56 years young to have a fail-safe way of getting present so that the true you can shine through. We'll see you then.
Yes, the queen, the queen. So I just want to just show some love. I didn't forget you guys out there in the comments. I see Tamara L. Hunter and I see Gloria down there putting her comments, all those words of wisdom. That's what I'm talking about. I love the words of wisdom there. And we have our Purple Hearts Club. So everybody see a Purple Heart, you understand what we have a Purple Hearts Club here that we really remember a certain Let's Talk Fab. She was basically our volunteer, senior volunteer. She was our angel and she passed. And we always put the Purple Hearts when we want to show that love to her because she's still with us. She's still with us. So, okay, I'm going to put you in the middle here, lady. Give us some of your tip here that you told us, you were about to tell us about in your video.
All right. So listen, how often do we get through the day and we don't know where the time went? Or you drive and you're like, how did I get here? Thank goodness my Google Maps was on and it told me which way to turn. Sometimes I even put down the wrong destination and drove to the wrong place because I was on automatic pilot. Oftentimes we need reminders that if you go into an automatic pilot, you're not present anymore. You've either gone into the past where you're reliving something or you're worried about the future and pre-planning what to do in case something happens, right? Mm-hmm. And the only way actually to prepare for anything that might happen is to be really present because then you can react accurately to the situation. If you start feeling your feet in where you are right now, if you're seated, feel your butt cheeks in your seat. If you're standing, feel your feet really feeling the floor. Let your clothing feel you. What does that mean? Literally, imagine your clothing are holding your shape. And then start smelling your favorite smell and tasting your favorite taste. I always have, look, my apropos mug, be yourself. Everyone else has already taken mug. I always have Earl Grey tea. That is a soothing smell for me. So even if I don't have it, I tune into the memory of the smell of Earl Grey and the taste of Earl Grey. Mm-hmm. I've had clients that like the taste of butter. So whatever works for you to get you present immediately. Then you listen to the sounds around you. So you're listening to the show. What is in your immediate setup? My husband and son just got home from shopping. So they're very quietly trying to unload the car. I can hear that. I can hear the toenail click clacks of all of my 13 pets in my house while I'm on this call with you. I know. That's for another call, y'all. I can also still hold the sense of smell and taste and hearing and feeling. And then visually, if you open up your visual field, meaning if you look at us with a soft gaze and then you start to see everything else in the room. I see a cat wandering, even though my eyes are watching you, but I see a cat wandering into my lower visual field. What can you see all around you? When you do that, your nervous system immediately takes you out of fight or flight and puts you in the here and now. Then when you take a breath in, expanding out your side ribs, and then exhale, eyes stay open. You don't want to close your eyes. Yeah. And then you rock your pelvis. I know. What? Yes, I'm going to ask you rock your pelvis. I can't really show you low down here because I'm up here, but rock your pelvis. It'll get you right present immediately. You feel that? Yep. And then anytime you start to lose track of time, that's what you want to do very, very immediately. If you're losing your temper, patience, getting sleepy. Sleepy is a sign that you're overwhelmed by your life and you need to get present immediately. Okay. It's not just fatigue. That is sometimes a stress response, right? Or if you feel overwhelmed with all the things happening in our world right now, we're not going to go political. However, there's a lot happening. How do you get present in the here and now and get safe immediately? And then that helps you start to figure out, what would you do next? Does that help everybody? I'm seeing everyone here nodding. Yeah. This is a really important thing. I have an alarm on my phone that goes off every hour and a half to remind me to stop, feel my 5 senses, take a breath, rock my pelvis. Because by the way, a lot of women and men too, we carry memory and trauma in the pelvis. We carry it in our bodies. And when you rock your pelvis, you're releasing that. Okay. I know. Isn't that crazy? It's documented. And science has been showing all of this to help us compensate and get through what we perceive as danger. Okay. So if you do that, that will get you present. And then you can figure out what your next move is. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that's helpful.
Yes.
You know what? I love each and every one of you queens because you know how to keep it rolling while I got an internet. I'm just keeping it real right now, like we said.
I got you.
So thank you so much. You got me, Jenny. See, I was like, I said, I know they're talking. I know they're still conversating with each other. They don't need me. They don't need me.
We always need you, Barbara. We always need you.
Oh,
yes. So, I do want to bring up one thing. Some of times we have difficulty putting ourselves first. And I did not learn to do that until I became a mom. I literally could not set any boundaries until I became pregnant. And all of a sudden I could set down hard, fast rules for people not to overstep, right? And that's okay if it takes your thinking of someone else to help you put yourself first. And ultimately what I've learned, because my children, my fraternal twins through in vitro fertilization, because they're my miracles from God, right? That now they're in my life, I have to set an example for them because I don't want them to learn from me to serve for safety, which is what I was taught when I was little. I always served so that I could be of use, not because I wanted to. And I could not step into the fact that my birthright is just to exist. Everyone listening in this panel, who you associate with, we all have a right to exist. You have a right to live and shine. And that should be enough for your reason of why you're doing things. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm done.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. And with that, going to that point, what Queen Jenny said, we only have a few minutes left. So with that, we're going to have to do our game that I always do at the end of the show. And it's called 30-second feedback. I just kind of created that little part of it. 30-second feedback. So I want each queen to answer this question because we got to leave something now. We got to do action item for people. Okay. It's one thing to hear all this, but now we got to take action. So each queen, I want you just in 30 seconds, how can you encourage others to be their authentic self, to be their true self? And I'm going to start with Barbara, 30 seconds. And if you over the 30 seconds, I'm going to take you out the middle.
Okay. All right. I think one of the biggest things that I have people do is realize that your future you. Visualize your future you year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, because when you visualize your future you, the you that you want to be, it will pay you dividends for the rest of your life.
Eric.
Didn't even see me up there. I love the song. I'm going to ask people, go listen, Google Mickey Guyton, M-I-C-K-E-Y. Last name is Guyton, G-U-Y-T-O-N. She has a song called Different. And there's a line in there that says, and just be true to who you are. If you do, then there ain't no competition. Meaning, if you are you, then you win.
Realize you are enough. I love doing the gratefulness journal. I would encourage, be grateful. I was grateful even though things were going bad. And when you do that, you find that, as you write down what you want to be and realize who you are, you'll begin to see things unfold. And the more grateful you are, the more things come into your life for you to be grateful for. And it just continues and continues. So just remember, you are enough. You're enough. You don't have to be anyone else. You're authentically you, and you are loved. Just be you.
I love you guys so much. Okay, focus on the 30 seconds. Everyone has permission to play every day. When you play, you are your most childlike self that deserves that chance to be present and to exist.
Mm-hmm. Woohoo, woohoo. Yes, I know you can all do it. And my
I was going to ask Barbara to give us her 30 seconds because she is just an inspiration.
Absolutely.
Okay. With that said, before I go completely out, as everybody said, wonderful queens, thank you so much. Remind everybody to make today a fabulous day for not only you, but for others. We will see you next Sunday. Take care.